Welcome to your Daily Dopamine with Dr. Joe McCullough, where we deliver daily doses of education, entertainment, and inspiration. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. Oh, yeah.
All right, welcome to the replay, and for those of you joining live, welcome. My name is Joe, and today we are talking about VAK learning strategies to increase comprehension. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. I did part 1 on Tuesday. Hey there, Lily, welcome. So, VAK learning strategies. What does VAK stand for? Hey, Michelle. VAK stands for visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Visual, basically anything we're taking in through our eyes, our sense of color, size, shape, things like that. Auditory, anything we take in through our ears, loudness, sense of pitch, and then kinesthetic, what we're doing with our body, our tactile senses. And the reason it's important to use different kinds of learning strategies that incorporate visual, auditory, and kinesthetic is because our brain stores different types of information in different parts of the brain. Visual information is stored in a part of the brain called the visual cortex. Auditory information is stored in the part of the brain called the temporal lobes or auditory cortex, and then kinesthetic information stored in a part of the brain called the somatosensory cortex. So, if you want the learning to be deeper, if you want to increase your chances of remembering information, you have to study it multiple ways. What I did on Tuesday was go through 8 different visual learning strategies. Let me go through those quickly today. And then I'm going to touch on 8 auditory strategies. And then tomorrow on Friday, I'm going to do a quick little review, give you 9 kinesthetic strategies, and then see if there's any questions. So the first visual strategies I went through, hey Kayvon, is 1, mind map. I didn't really touch on this in detail, but great visual way of taking notes. 2, sit where you have a clear view of the instructor. 3, take detailed notes using lots and lots of color. One of the greatest things you can do if you take notes is review those notes right after class and add color, pictures, images, things like that. 4, use a highlighter when reading. However, you want to highlight sparingly. Don't highlight everything. 5, review pictures, graphs, and diagrams. I know a lot of students who tend to just skip over any kind of graphs and diagrams and pictures. Don't do it. Use them as a valuable learning tool. We are very visual. A picture is worth 1,000 words. 6, summarize material using charts, pictures, diagrams. So if you're taking notes to study, think about adding some pictures, some diagrams, some charts. Think about representing the information visually. And then the last 2 I went through are use multimedia such as videos and animations. Think about using YouTube as a really, really great study tool. And then 5, visualize and create a mental picture of what you are learning. If you cannot picture something in your mind's eye, it's incredibly difficult to remember it. So those were 8 visual strategies. Let me now give you 8 auditory strategies. So the very first one is find a study buddy or group. Hey there, Corey. One of the greatest things that you can do studying is to study with other people. We're very social creatures. You just need to make sure that you don't spend so much time socializing that your study does not become a productive use of your time. So really think about establishing a study group or a study buddy. I prefer to study alone. Now some people definitely. So let me just say, I'm giving you some broad strategies that you can pick and choose from. You don't necessarily need to use every one, and some people definitely prefer, because I'm smarter than everyone else. I love Periscope and all the comments I get. So studying with a partner, if that's what you like, is a really great way. It's awesome to bounce ideas off of each other, to quiz each other. 2, explain what you were learning to others. If you cannot explain something, then you don't really understand it. And this is something that's so easy, but take a few minutes and just explain what you're learning to somebody else. Because if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. 3, if you're a student, ask lots of questions during class. Do not let questions go unanswered. It's important for you to clear up any misconceptions as soon as they occur. So again, first 3 are find a study buddy or group, explain what you were learning to others, and ask lots of questions during class. Okay, auditory strategy. What if I'm stuck on a problem? Good question. So here's something I recommend to my students, and I teach college physics, is a lot of the learning comes in the struggle of trying to do a problem, not knowing how to do it, trying different things. However, you can get to a point where you're just wasting time. Just bought your book for Kindle. Oh, awesome, Willie. Thank you. You have to let me know if you have any questions. So I would recommend working on a problem. Let's say you're doing a math or physics problem. Work on it for 15, 20 minutes. But then if you can't get it after about 20 minutes, you can start to get to a point where you have diminishing returns on your time. And at that point, I might seek help or put it down, try something else, and then come back to it. Okay, so auditory strategy number 4. Actively participate in all class discussions. If you're in a class that has class discussions, do not shy away from participating. The explaining things to others, to hearing other people explain it, great way. My Periscope isn't allowing hearts. Oh, too bad. Does this work for junior high or younger grades? The answer is this works for anybody with a brain. So the answer is it works for everybody. Now, everybody learns slightly differently, so I'm presenting to you 25 different learning strategies over the course of this 3-part series. Pick and choose the ones that work best for you. And the only way to know which ones work best is try them out. Okay, auditory strategy number 5. Did not see that brain coming. Huh, it was a surprise, huh? Did you see this coming? Funny story. So I got this at Safeway. It was, I think, Halloween last year, and they had a big box of about 15 or 20 of them. And I spent just about 5 or 10 minutes hitting every single one and hearing about 15 or 20 of these laughing at the same time. It was good stuff. Okay, so auditory strategy. I can't believe that made me smile. I don't think I've ever hit this and not smiled. And I think I mentioned this on Tuesday. I've got 3 or 4 of these. I have a couple physics instructors that I just open the door, throw this into the classroom, and it's like a little laugh bomb. Do I need to buy that to study that toy? No, it doesn't necessarily help you study better, but it's a really great little distraction, and if you're feeling down, just give it a little hit. Okay. Auditory strategy number 5, study in a quiet place away from verbal distractions. So if you're an auditory learners tend to be distracted easily with sounds, noise, music, things like that. What do the other professors think when you do it? I have to say one of them got kind of annoyed, so I don't do it as much as I used to. But if you're a primarily auditory learner, think about studying in a quiet area away from distractions. What if I'm in class and everyone is talking? Great question. The answer is you can only do the best that you can do. So if you're in a class and there's a class discussion and that's distracting to you, actually I'm not sure. You just kind of have to do what you can do, maybe check with the instructor. Everybody learns slightly differently, but I would still really think about participating in all classroom discussions. Okay, great one. 6, create a musical jingle. Can't even read that. Create a musical jingle or song when, you can use headphones. Great idea, Corey. Create a musical jingle or song when memorizing material. Now, think about how many songs you know by heart. For most people, it's hundreds, maybe thousands. And think about how much time you spent actively studying the lyrics to those songs and making an effort to remember them. Chances are, most of the songs you know by heart, you didn't really spend the time actively trying to memorize it. There's just something about music that makes it stick. So if you can put content to a song, to a jingle, to a music, really, really great way of remembering it. Okay, and then 2 more. Read material out loud. The more dramatic, the better. So when you're reading material, think about actually reading it out loud, put some emotion in your voice, use some drama, and then last but not least, and this is a great one, huge, great tip, is use your smartphone to record yourself reviewing the material and then listen to it in the car, in line, things like that. Rather than spending your time checking Facebook, texting, and things like that, if you have some free time, think about using your smartphone as an amazing study tool. Almost every smartphone has some kind of recording app where you can record notes. Think about reading your notes out loud, recording it, and then listening to it in the car while you're in line, things like that. Not only is it going to be using your time effectively, but there's something that just makes it stick when we hear our own voice explaining material. I love using my smartphone to study when I have time, or to review students' names or things like that. Your smartphone can be used so effectively. Okay, so those were 8 auditory strategies. Lots of great study, flashcard, and revision apps. Yes, and I promoted this before. Quizlet is a great study tool. It's little flashcards, and you can even record your voice saying the answers. Having to memorize something, write the first letter of every word. If make mistakes, start from first. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let me go through the 8 auditory strategies, and then tomorrow I will go through 9 kinesthetic strategies and do a big review. So auditory strategy number 1 is find a study buddy or group. We are social people. We love to learn together. Think about studying with somebody else. Just make sure you stay focused on what you're studying. 2, explain what you are learning to others. If you can't explain something, then you don't really understand it. 3, ask lots of questions during class. Never let a question go unanswered if you can help it. Make sure you clear up any misconceptions as soon as you can. 4, actively participate in all class discussions. If you're in a class where you are doing class discussions, do not shy away from them. Actively participate. 5, study in a quiet area away from verbal distractions. If you are an auditory learner, auditory learners tend to be easily distracted by noise. You know the asking questions thing. Other students hate it because they just want class to end. Not in my class. I encourage questions all the time. In fact, I actually have to put an end to some of the questions because I get really good. They think you're being a kiss ass. Well, it depends on what kind of questions you ask. But you should not let that stop you. You're paying for your education. Don't let what other students think prevent you from asking questions. Okay, great one. Create a musical jingle or song when memorizing material. Little story, so I worked for a company called Quantum Learning, and 5 or 6 years ago, I had to go down to LA to do a tryout. And what they wanted is they said, you have 3 minutes to do a bio. Make it stand out. And I wrote a rap biography to Beastie Boys' Paul Revere, and that was like 6 years ago, and I still remember it word for word. There's something about music, it just sticks in our memory. Okay, and then the last 2. Read the material out loud. The more dramatic, the better. And then the last one, a great one. Think about using your smartphone to record yourself reviewing material and then listen to it in the car, in the line, anytime you have free time. Okay, that is it. My name is Joe McCullough, and I'm on Periscope every single day sharing daily doses of dopamine through education, entertainment, and inspiration. This is day 71 of my 1-year challenge to get on Periscope every day. Wow, 71 days. That's a lot of days in a row. Okay, excellent information. Thanks again. Heyman84, you are very welcome. Tomorrow I will do a wrap-up and we'll do 9 kinesthetic strategies. Thank you so much. Lily Blue, thank you. Awesome as always. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to catch you all tomorrow or maybe later this week. Thanks again, and see you later.